How are you seeing in the engagement of people in this, especially the new workplace that got created post-COVID?
Before COVID, we were 100%, 99%, in the office. And I always thought that was how a business needed to run. So when we sent everybody home for COVID and was like, wow, this is actually still working, I was blown away. Just a complete mind change for me. We've built the right type of organization. We've had very little churn out of the organization.
It's kind of interesting. It's kind of weird that to think, all of 2022, we didn't lose anybody and we didn't hire anybody. Really just working on our processes, right? And being able to do more for less. What it's done for us is it's really allowed us to hire people in a wider area.
Welcome to this special State of the Channel episode of Sunny Silver Linings. Our guests today are both very well known in the MSP channel. Joining Sunny today, we have Jeff Borello, CEO, Andromeda Technology Solutions, and Craig Pollack, founder and CEO, FPA Technology Services. And remember, if you enjoy content like this, be sure to subscribe, like, and share. Now, here's your host, the founder and CEO of IT by Design, Mr. Sunny Kaila. Over to you, Sunny.
Hi, Craig. Hi, Jeff. Welcome to the show.
Hey, how you doing?
Sunny, thanks for having me.
Yes. No, thank you so much for taking the time to join me today on Sunny's Silver Linings. And this is an opportunity for us to share our learnings and what we know running our businesses with the channel, and just to kind of basically give back to the community that we serve. So Craig, I'm going to start with you. Can you please introduce yourself?
Sure. My name's Craig Pollack. I'm the founder and CEO of FPA Technology Services. We are an MSP, MSSP out of the greater Los Angeles area. We've been in business since 91, so I've been doing this for a little while. I'd like to say I started the company when I was 9, but I'd be lying. Yeah, we're a very, I'd like to say we're a very boutique sort of firm. We're very much about the long-term relationship with our clients. We've got clients that we opened our doors with 30 years ago. We've got our average retention rate right now with staff is about 5.25 years. We have very, very little turnover, and excited to be here. So looking forward to having this discussion.
Thank you, Craig. Thank you. And Jeff, can you please introduce yourself?
Yeah, Jeff Borello, co-founder and CEO of Andromeda Technology Solutions out of the Chicagoland area. And I gotta tip my hat to Craig. I don't run into too many MSPs that have been in business longer than we are. So we're on our 29th year, and he's got us whooped. So that's pretty impressive. So we've been doing this for a long time. Very similar to Craig, very relationship oriented with our clients. We do everything's very long-term partnerships with our clients, our vendors, our employees. We really are, looking at the long term for pretty much everything we do. So definitely looking forward to the conversation today.
Thank you, Jeff. And guys, thank you for joining me today. So we'll start with the top challenges in the channel. Craig, we will start with you, and we will start with the question of profitability. What are you seeing in your business when it comes to profitability being at the center? And what are the ideas or some strategies that you're using to overcome this obstacle of profitability?
Yeah, I think that's certainly a good starting point. We all want to be profitable, right? We're not nonprofits for sure. I think the interesting thing, especially being around so long and seeing a lot of the trends change over time, and certainly there are times, before we really became an MSP where we were just charging for our time, right? Whatever we spent time on, we billed for and hope for the best. And certainly, I think 2008, 2009, the Great Recession, that just wiped that whole mindset off the table. We could not survive with just time and materials. So long story short, it's really, to me, profitability, especially I think in Los Angeles or in a bigger market where, no question, our number one cost on our income statement is staff, right, is salaries. And we just went through salary increases, right? And everybody's talking about inflation and talking about, uh, just how much everything costs nowadays. So definitely to retain people, we have to pay them pretty well. So how do we maintain profitability in the face of that? And especially in the face of technology changing. And for us, we don't have a lot of churn. So we don't have a lot of turnover with clients. So what that means is we spend a pretty decent amount of time getting clients pretty stable. And then it's definitely their spend is a big curve that goes down over time, right? And so it's really about improving our processes and methodologies so that we become better and better in terms of the amount of time that we have to spend on things, right? So it's really, it's more about efficiency and retention, which drives our profitability. I'd like to hear what Jeff has to say about that too.
Yeah. So, Jeff, what strategies are you using in your business to make sure that the roadmap to profitability stays strong while labor cost has been going up and customers' resistance to price increases?
Yeah, certainly for us, Craig touched on a couple of the same things that we've been looking at. We have a major initiative this quarter, just look at efficiency, right? That why do we spend this many hours on something that, and maybe it was something we shouldn't have even been looking at all. So it's that, and it's around process, right? We've had the mentality for 29 years of, listen, if the customer calls, it's our obligation to fix it. And it turns out that's a slippery slope that ends up being you can end up in a bad situation, which, that's a good concept, but when taken to an extreme, it's really, really hurts profitability because we'll spend way too many hours at something where we ought to just tell the client, you just need to replace this device or we can't spend any more time on it. So I think it's getting a little bit of a different mindset for our staff and then just looking at the process and looking at the efficiencies, right? If we've got to be able to do more with less, although, we love our team, it's a great team. We certainly don't have anybody we're looking to get rid of, but we've got to be able to bring on, X number of more clients without having to add any more staff. And we've just got to learn how to operate in that mode, I think is a big thing for us. It tends to be that, people run around like, we need more people, we need more people, we need more people. And that just can't be the answer in this environment. Got to figure out how to do it without adding any more heads. So,
Yeah. Churn will always cost you because there is an onboarding cost. There are a lot of costs associated with client churn because cost of finding a new logo, a new customer is very high. If you can retain your existing customers, serve them well, that keeps your cost to acquire a customer low. And that is one of the strategy that you shared. And you also mentioned employee retention as well, that your attrition rate is very low, because that's another piece of kind of major cost. In the MSP space, the major cost is labor cost, your direct service costs. So keeping the employee churn and client churn low adds to your profitability. And Jeff, in terms of how we are thinking about delivering service with more with less, where we are leveraging efficiencies and other things, and those are the few of the drivers that adds up to the cost. And if we can do that, that is a great way to address profitability as a challenge. In the entrepreneurship, an entrepreneur is a successful entrepreneur when you take low value assets and make them high value assets. There is a conversation going on in the channel, but so far people are having hard time figuring things out in terms of how they can leverage this. So I want to ask you, Craig, how are you thinking about AI? What will be the impact of AI on the channel in 2023? What is that value creation that we can do for our customers using this new thinking?
Well, I think that AI, it can be used obviously it can be used in a lot of different ways. And right now, with ChatGPT and the Bing engine and whatnot, a lot of it is around, at least right now, right? It's around organizing and disseminating information that we wouldn't otherwise have access to or see things a certain way, right? We've tried a couple different products, and at the end of the day, they didn't quite work out for us. So the one aspect is how do we leverage AI to help us improve our service, quality of service, right? Service delivery. And I think, beyond automation and beyond, sort of old school sort of ways of thinking about, automation, AI, I think is more around, I think the mid to longer term sort of solutions are going to be how can we leverage it to create more self-serving, right, for our client, for our end users, right, and make our end users more self-sufficient, right. That's a form of, I don't know if I'd call it automation, right, but it is a form of ultimately allowing us to take on more clients and serve more clients better, right, and I think that's the goal.
Yeah. So do you think there is a possibility for MSPs to start thinking about, hey, I can create a new product, new offering, which is basically AI, could be consulting services, could be AI advisory for your
Right.
SMB customers?
Right. Yeah, definitely. I think though that, this is kind of, I don't want to say it's a slippery slope, right? But what you're talking about is true consulting and business consulting. And I think that's sort of the next level because, what I will say, and Jeff and I were both talking about this earlier, that, we live in pretty large markets, right? And in those large markets, there's lots of competitors. And a lot of the people who do what we do are more on the technical side and less on the business side, right? And in terms of leveraging AI and being able to offer and package a service around it is a very consultative engagement, right? It's not, at least right now, it's not, commodity. It's not like you could just take one of your help desk guys and say, hey, go implement AI for somebody and help them out. Because you have to see problems and be able to acknowledge those problems exist, figure out how to leverage AI to help solve those problems, and then be able to communicate that with the client, right? And be able to paint that picture of the before and after around not only just because it's a new technology, but how are you solving their problems and what do those problems look like? To me, that's like a very mature next level MSP.
Thank you, Craig. And Jeff, what are your thoughts on AI and the impact of AI on the channel?
Yeah, so I actually have a lot. I'll do them kind of in reverse order to kind of work backward from where Craig ended up. Probably about once a year, once every other year, we end up in this exact same conversation about business consulting. Right, 3 years ago, when I was like, man, if we could teach people how to use Power BI and go out and actually have a, what do you need help with in your business from a technology standpoint? But what we ended up with is it's just such a completely different business, right? You need a different level of people. You need business analyst kind of people. And I think the same thing is going to be true with the AI consulting, right? It's one of the problems that we spend a lot of time here on is just making sure we're focused, right? And it's so easy, especially for entrepreneurs to come in every week with a different idea.
Yeah.
So on the AI and being able to help customers get over that, like we're still figuring out what we would do with it, right? So I don't think we're anywhere near to the point where we would be able to help customers with that. For us, at least, we're in the people business, right? So I think this is a service industry. It's a professional services industry. It's people working with people. And I think, yeah, we need to figure out a way to leverage the automation and the AI more. But I don't see it. I know people that are like, yeah, I'm not going to hire any new people. I'm going to figure out how to do it all with automation. I'm just not sure we're there yet.
Yeah.
Like Craig said, for information gathering, it's phenomenal, right? And it's just amazing what you can do with the ChatGPT and the amount of information give you back. I did see someone turn me on to someone wrote a site on top of ChatGPT where you can give it the results you want, and it will actually go pull the data, and then we'll figure out the next steps of the conversation you would normally have. So that starts to get interesting because it starts generating actions more than just data.
Yeah.
But again, very rudimentary and very a long way off, I think. So
Yeah. So, no, thank you. Thank you, Jeff. The shiny objects, normally that entrepreneurs will have to kind of really, really work hard to stay away from. Otherwise, it's like one thing, second thing, because we are entrepreneurs and we always going to find, try to kind of really get distracted with new things and not have too much follow through with the existing stuff. As an entrepreneur, you want to kind of really develop a practice to stay away from shiny objects. So I appreciate your thinking there. Talent trends. Everyone was asking for like double the salary in the last 2 3 years, and it was hard for business owners to keep up with that. And then overall attrition to retention was a problem as well. So quiet quitting, like a lot of really hashtags start on social media. The most recent that I have observed was quiet quitting. So how are you seeing in engagement of people in this, especially the new workplace that got created post COVID? So what are you doing in terms of making sure that people are engaged, people are performing well when they're working in this new workplace?
Yeah. So for us, before COVID, we were 100% or 99%, in the office, right? We were in the office place. And I always thought that was how a business needed to run. So when we sent everybody home for COVID and was like, wow, this is actually still working, I was blown away. Just a complete mind change for me. I had never envisioned that. Um, so as a result of that, we have let everybody continue to working pretty much from home, and we've extended our hiring to, when we open up a position now, unless it's something that needs to be done in Chicagoland, which is, other than a field tech, there's not much. We're hiring around the country, and it has had a dramatic impact. Instead of getting 30 resumes for a position, we get 300. And we've made some really great hires that we otherwise would not have had, opportunity to meet those people. So that's been a dramatic change for us. We've built the right type of organization. We've had very little churn out of the organization unless it was somebody we wanted to churn out. So very, very good retention for us on the employee side. And we're grateful for that. We have not seen any of those trends that people are talking about. Do I worry a little bit about, our service desk where they used to all be in one room and somebody could, ear hustle, well, wait, I heard you're working on that. I fixed that last week, right? So that's been a concern. In those what we're calling water cooler moments, right? Those just spontaneous interactions that happen between two people on the way walking out the door. They stop and they end up in a conversation for an hour. We just have not found a way to recreate those. That's been the biggest challenge, and I think that's just the new normal that we're just gonna have to figure out how to try to reproduce some of those other things artificially, and it's hard.
Yeah. Do you see the market shifting in terms of availability of tech talent in the market?
Yeah, again, I think that's an area where we've been really lucky. A year or so ago, were we paying more than we traditionally would have for some positions? Absolutely. Now that creates a long-term problem. But overall, we've wanted to get tech talent. We've been able to do it. Now, yeah, have we used recruiting firms more in the last 2 years than we did the 27 prior? Yeah, we never used to have to pull a recruiter in to fill an IT tech position. So certainly over the last couple of years we have, but I think the last two positions we filled, we did it organically through just job postings. So overall, it's again, I think it was changing our approach a little bit to opening it up to things and just thinking about things differently. That they don't need to be here in a seat was the biggest change for us. And then just again adjusting with market conditions as the salaries were ramping up in the world. Yeah, we had to ramp up too. We had to adjust some people here that were probably a little undercompensated. We've tried to fix that and keep everybody where they should be.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Jeff. And Craig, LA market, it has been like in general, like San Francisco, LA, always very different when it comes to availability of talent, cost of talent. I'm sure you have seen some really interesting things post COVID when it comes to your talent strategy. So, what are your overall challenges in terms of talent, and what are you seeing this year?
Yeah. Well, I think it sounds like we're very similar with Jeff, right? In terms of a high retention shop. I hope I'm not shooting myself in the foot here, but I think we've gone 15 months without any turnover. So really long, it's kind of interesting. It's kind of weird to think, all of 2022, we didn't lose anybody and we didn't hire anybody. And we really worked on retention and really just working on our processes, right? And being able to do more for less. more things for less clients and keeping that focus. And not that I had any fears of everybody, working remotely, but it certainly has changed the dynamic. And I think that where we're at now in terms of hybrid, like we have an office, but we have probably one or two people in that office any given day, right? Everybody pretty much works remotely and occasionally comes in. What it's done for us is it's really allowed us to hire people in a wider area, right? And so it actually increased our ability to hire. And especially, again, in the greater Los Angeles area, it's huge. When it comes to hiring, it's really about the person. It's about their character. It's about it's not about their technical chops. And, while we certainly make sure that they have appropriate technical chops, I will give up technical chops for the character of the person in a second. To be honest, we spent a pretty decent amount of time over the last 5, 6, 7 years, not just turning around the culture, but not accepting people who are cancers. To me, that's what it's all about, is if I create an environment for people, that I respect and enjoy and want to be around, and hopefully, obviously we have to pay them appropriately. But it's more than just pay, right? It's like they have to feel like they're part of something, and something that's continuing, and something that they have opportunities to grow in, and something that they're part of. And so I really think culture is number one, right? Everything ends with culture.
Yeah, no, I love that. It's about the person, and hiring for values first, and skills, competencies, other things. Well, they can be easily developed when you have the right person who has the right work ethic, right values, and the person is hungry. Then you can kind of do something with that person. Culture cancer can really kill the entire team, right? It's culture cancer is real, and it's a lot of over time we learn the value of eliminating that cancer as quickly as possible if it exists in the company. But really paying attention to values when we are hiring, promoting, rewarding, recognizing people based on values alignment that's a big one. So thank you so much for coming to my podcast, guys. Craig, Jeff, I really appreciate you. Thank you for being my collaborators with this podcast and adding value to the channel. And again, channel is just like a small village, and if we kind of really share what we know, what's working, what's not working, and it's kind of really that then the entire channel community is growing by learning from each other. And this is, I love this channel. I love this community. And I really appreciate you guys coming and sharing your wisdom, very valuable insights, your experiences. Thank you so much.
That was great to be here.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for watching Sunny's Silver Linings. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you next time.